The effects of technology on the economy. Before we can look at the future, look at the past. The earliest known form of industrialization was in southern France under Romans. However, instead of industrializing, they still kept slaves. Why? Well, the real question that should be asked is, why not? Their main rival, the Parthians, later the Sassanids, had also kept slaves, and the moral reason was really not strong enough in this age to justify going that way. The Romans decided to keep using slaves with no reason to not. However, that did not last forever, with Rome splitting into two, and the West splitting into a few more, bringing about a new age of feudalism, competing kingdoms, competing for labor and resources. This led to the feudal system, where peasants are at the bottom and the king is at the top. However, this was all upended, and came the Black Death. Though not literally an army of skeletons, it certainly must have felt like it. The ruling monarchs of the time, the feudalism falling apart, and people being forced to innovate as their workforce significantly decreases, they can only supply their vassals. Means that less workers available led to more innovation, though socially rather than technology. Technological innovation is rather rare. Take for example the agricultural revolution. That happened in approximately 10,000 BC, and it changed the way we humans lived forever. Revolutions like that are few and fall apart, though that all changed when came the Industrial Revolution. The ways of hand-knitted clothes made in cottages was over. Now came the age of automated textiles and spinning mules, as well as many others. Those old jobs still being created to so many new people, albeit now in the cities rather than far away in their own homesteads. Additionally came mass improvements to other forms of automation, like the steam donkey, which significantly reduced the labor force required for mining by pumping out water that's spewed in from the caves, as well as dynamite, which increased the amount a singular worker could mine, and the threshing machine. Threshing used to be done manually, and it took about a fourth of the time the whole process of making bread. However, threshing machine that changed, with now more being able to be dedicated to the farming process. However, even though these reduced the workforce, that did not mean they reduce it everywhere. All these parts usually required what was produced in the mine. It meant that mines was made elsewhere, using said labor force. The increased demand for resources meant more mines and more farms to be made. And though the labor force was reduced, new jobs such as machinists and specialists in dynamite were also forming. Higher paid jobs that led to more user demand. Skipping forward a bit, we have the computers of the 1940s. Now you might realize that there is no actual computer here. The computers back then referred to the occupation of a computer, being one who computes, doing complex equations by hand. That changed with the actual computer. That was still rather large compared to the computers of today. It was the first modern computer to truly be built. And though that means that those old computers, the job, were no longer there, many previous computers had turned into programmers and software engineers and all other kinds of new jobs meant by computers, like the entire IT industry. Now, this wasn't brought upon by the shortage of labor. Let's throw that old diagram into the trash and bring up a new one. More competition means more innovation. The previous shortage of labor leading to competition, rather than being a source of innovation by itself. The war causes competition because this was initially designed to compute the range of artillery shells being fired from American artillery. Now, as you've seen, the general trend has been the decrease of manual labor and an increase in trades and other kinds of labor, like machinists and engineers, or literally those who dig, going from those who repair. Skipping forward once again to the present days, the main innovations that are currently making significant changes in the workforce are AI and remote work, with AI changing and adding new job types, remote work changing how the jobs are done. Starting off with the AI, many new jobs are being created using AI. There's those who make the AI, those who train it, those who make sure it's working and ethical, as well as those who build machines that are piloted by AI. Additionally, all these new components required to process these AIs leads to booms in the secondary industries, which the newfound resource needs also leads to a boom in the primary industries. It means that AI is creating jobs all across the board. While remote work changes how the job is done, with it now being done at home rather than in a brick-and-mortar office. Obviously, everything is great. There's no reason that it could not be great, as everything is on the rise and jobs will increase forever. Or will they? Because that diagram also works in reverse, with more innovation meaning less need for workers. In the future, there could be way less people required to do each job, with automation such as the AI being used to write software, meaning only a few people will be required for where teams were before, in addition to factories being more automated rather than requiring constant human oversight. With this comes high unemployment, which decreases wages, and no longer requiring such a specialized workforce, which increases the wage for that job as well. This will lead to a further consolidation of wealth by the very wealthy, and it will harm all others, leading to increased poverty, recession, and all the decreases in jobs that come with that. However, this is all just speculation. It should not be taken too heavy-heartedly, although it should also not be ignored.